Okay, let's go. I'm working for Calibrate, and I'm going to start with this slide. So what you see here is some pictures of the Pope. Obviously, you all know that this is a fake picture, right? You can see it. You can see it by the fingers on his right hand. But for people that don't know it, it's a bit harder to see. If you don't know it, it's harder to see. You see this picture of Putin, it's a fake picture as well. There's some, you see the boxes, it's AI generated. You see the fingers, they are wrong. These are pictures of Zendaya. Who can see which pictures are fake? Please raise your hand if you see the fake ones. Okay, I'm going to spoil it. There's only one real one. So they're all fake except one. Who knows which is the real one?
Can you make it bigger that you can see the eyes?
No, it's okay. The point I want to make is it's getting harder and harder to make the distinction between AI-generated and real content. With text, it's already the case. You are all managing content websites. All of this, lots of content is being generated by AIs. And I think and that's why the gold is in the background, you are sitting on content management systems, you are sitting on the source of good content. Please don't ruin it by ramming it into AI and spitting out garbage AI-generated content. So please be the shepherd of good content so that AIs come to your side and train on it so that we are the shepherds of the good stuff. I think Bill Gates in 1969 said content is king. I still think that is very true also for whatever you're doing. This is not AI generated. This is something that I was working on with Marcus Johansson here also, here in the room. And this is something that I tested out. Who can tell me what it does? I think everybody can see what it does. It's an AI function. What do you think happens? It's a prompt, and it gives you an output. What happens in the background? It goes through AI, and it gives you the response. It's very easy to implement. Obviously, this is procedural code, and you don't want this in your site. This is not how you should do it. But for me, it proves the point that it's very easy to use AI in your Drupal website. It can be very easy. Before we go into how that works, let's go back into time and see how we got there. In 2019, I made a presentation from 0 to 100 in Drupal Intelligence. You see that I was detecting pizza and non-pizza pictures. I also did the face detection on profile pictures in Drupal. So when people are uploading their face picture and they were not smiling, I would not allow them to upload their face picture. Or if you are uploading specific kinds of content, that it wouldn't be allowed as well. This is very strange because all of a sudden you're uploading nude pictures into your Drupal and like seeing what Google Vision does with its very strange sensation. Then I made a presentation, feed your chatbot Drupal data. And there's also Mosh Noise Sandbox on using TensorFlow in Drupal. I think very interesting, already dated now. But and then in the end of the presentation, I had these 6 slides. I suggested, okay, how cool would it be if we would have natural search in Drupal? Or emotion detection on comments so that we can highlight toxic comments. Or a frequently asked questions bot included in core. Or even automatic annotations, alt text for images. Maybe OCR on text uploads. And language models weren't existing or in their name at that point in time. Then we would call them neural networks. So I think by time 2023, so last year, I reevaluated these things and I noticed that all of these things are solved. For natural search in Drupal, there's Search API AI. For comment emotion detection, you could use Azure Text Analytics API. For the frequently asked questions, but okay, I'm going to say it's not in core, but you can make it yourself with a number of modules. There's alt text modules that allow you to have automatic alt text. There's OCR with the document OCR module. There's content generation with all these OpenAI and other modules. So all of these things are solved. I think I can say that I predicted that. That's good. In the end of the presentation, I will do some more predictions. So I'm curious how that will go. Exciting. Enter the year 2024. ChatGPT becoming very popular. You cannot ignore the fact that it's there. And there's a ton of modules that are popping up in the Drupal community. I'm going to quickly loop through some of those, and there's people interested in specific applications for these modules. I'm going to just show one screenshot, and on the top right, on the right bottom, oh my God. Is it possible to make the video in another? Okay, thank you. On the right bottom, there's the name of the module if you're interested. You can take a picture so that you can try it. Keep your cell phone ready because I'm going to loop through a lot of them, and you're going to have to take a picture fast. So this is the CK5 speech-to-text, where you can just talk to your Drupal, and it will annotate automatically what you're doing. I've tested it in Dutch because Dutch is sometimes a bit hard, and it works okay-ish. There's the AI image module that allows you to have DALL-E images. You generate a prompt, and you have DALL-E in what you see in your CK editor as well. Then there's the OpenAI module. Obviously, have a prompt, enter the prompt. There's other functions there. And it also adds on the right side of your site all these functionalities to do auto summary, taxonomy suggestions, content type suggestions, summarization, all these things. I like this module because the ChatGPT plugin allows you to have a one-click translation of your content. In Europe, we're doing multilingual, and for us, this is relevant. I'm going to tell you later why you shouldn't use this, but for people who want to experiment, you can give it a go. Then there's the auto-alter module that gives you a description of the image that you upload automatically. And this is going to be important because this is the year 2024 where European accessibility will become important. In 2025, the European government can give you fines if you're doing business in Europe and your site is not accessible. And so it will be important and fines will be given. Fix your accessibility this year. And Altex is part of that. Meta tag AI function that can generate automatic meta tags, document OCR. You upload a document, it will fetch some information from the document, make entities, and then you can start working with the data. This is a cool one because we're also working with that. We have an example of that where customers are uploading offers from other companies. We're parsing the data and making a better offer out of that. So you can do really cool stuff with that. These are the basics. A little more advanced, you have the AI interpolator module. Mark is also building that. Typically, an editor writes a content piece or all kinds of content. But now, because we have a language model, we can have the main content piece, and it can generate all kinds of derivative content. It can generate, based on the main content, a Facebook post, a Twitter, a tweet, a LinkedIn post, a newsletter teaser, or even a podcast. So it's fully automatic. Try the interpolator module. And it's very dynamic because you can chain these things. So you can have from PDF generated text, and from the text generate a graphical thing. From the text maybe generate a podcast, an audio thing. So it's really powerful, and there's tons of modules that already do it. It's fully automatic, almost no code involved. You can do it like without any coding, and you have 150,000 plus AI models at your fingertips. Hugging Face, OpenAI, Deep, Graham, Level Labs, and there's tons of them. So it's really powerful, and it's very simple to configure. The simplest configuration is you say, okay, this is the base field, this is the prompt, and it creates new content based on your existing content. There are some Germans in the room. In Flanders, we have a government. They provide services to the people. And the editors of the government, sometimes they write in the polite U form, and sometimes they write in the less polite, like the, how do you call it, friendly U form. Yeah. And they did a big rewrite using similar setup, just make the text in the polite form for everybody. And so this is something that you can apply also retroactively on your entire content base. Just make sure that the entire tone of voice is the same for everybody. So really cool, and it gives automatic text. An example, you can also say, make sure to add some emojis and hashtags and whatever into that. With the 11 Labs field integration, you can just generate from paragraphs and a podcast, and this is an example.
Welcome to Drupal Showcase with Frederik. We welcome Mark today. He will talk about artificial intelligence.
Hi, Fred. Glad to be on the show. I'm a big fan. What do you want to know?
Well, let's start about retrieval augmented generation.
Hey, Hey, before you start, has Frederik introduced himself yet?
No. So this is just paragraphs. You can generate them from a PDF document as with Interpolator, but you can also manually generate it. And the 11 Labs field will then give you this audio. I'm sorry. So you can really generate cool podcasts and things with that. This is just a tiny portion of what the Interpolator can do. There's a website called Workflows of AI, and you see you can categorize images, transcribe audio, or maybe even transcribe YouTube videos, make a dialogue from PDF, find text, find images in stock, maybe get a location out of a text. It's really, really powerful. And for the people interested, this is the URL. Take a picture, find the cases that you're interested in. It's really cool to see. Marcus is making the videos himself. There are some steps how you can configure it yourself, so it's very valuable. I see some pictures being taken. Let's give them some time. Okay. Good. I already told, you can have that for new content, but also retroactively apply that. Let's say you have 3,000 products, and you want to have a little block with the top 3 advantages of your product, but which editor is going to make that? These kind of things can be retroactively applied to all of your content. Okay, I'm going to do a small sidetrack to retrieval augmented generation. This is also possible with the Search API module. And this is a screenshot, I think, from you. Yeah, great. So what you see here is on the left, there's some products. And you see there's some text. This is what retrieval augmented generation lets you do. We pay our workers a fair wage to produce it. And then you ask, OK, please provide ethical products and tell me why they're ethical. And it seems to understand this text and give you the result in a kind of search. Now, this is really cool. How does that work? And I've been talking with some people, I think, Robert. People are interested in how this works. So I'm going to briefly introduce this to you. To show you how it works, I need to talk about embeddings. Embeddings is an AI that makes text into vectors or images into vectors. So you give it the text as input, and it will get vectors as an output. It's an embedding model. So this is the first part of the puzzle. The second part of the puzzle is a vector database. You store these vectors, these numbers into a vector database, and then you can have multiple visualizations. And this is like how, for example, books could be organized. And then there's this. In the retrieval augmented generation flow, there's the embedding model you see here in green, and there's the language model here in red. How does it work? So in our Drupal, we have content, might be files, might be whatever. It can be external content. It's going to be chunked. We're going to pass it through the embedding AI. It will turn into vectors, and then it will be stored in the vector database. So then you have a vector database which is up to date, always with your content. Yeah? So every time an editor saves the document, it will be embedded and saved into the vector store. And then you can query it. So if you want to query it, your question comes from the top. I have my question. My question is related to a specific piece in the museum talking about Van Gogh. I need to find this specific Van Gogh painting I don't know about. And it talks about a chair, and there's a sun in the background. It will make an embedding of that as well. This embedding is then used to create a select nearest neighbor query. And this query is running against the database. What happens? It will find you the nearest vectors to what you're asking. Because we're using numbers, we make abstraction of text. You're not using textual search. You're searching things that are similar to what I asked. Apart, there's nothing, no text search anymore involved. This vector store then gives you a resulting amount of articles that are related to your question. It's not yet an answer. So these ranked results, these articles, will then be given as context to a language model, like GPT. So what happens in the background is your Drupal says to GPT, OK, hey, GPT, I have this question from the user. This is the content that I know is relevant. Please formulate this into an answer. And we make it not too creative so that the language model doesn't start hallucinating or as little as possible. That's what we want to prevent. It will generate an answer based on your own content. And this gives you a very nice answer about ethical products, about art, about whatever kind of things that you're talking about. Did I explain that clearly? Who didn't get it? No, it's a bad question. Did you get it? Did you get it? Okay. Someone has a question about one part that they want to understand even better. Okay, no. So there's things, there's optimizations that can be done. James and the team are really, this works already in Drupal, and there's improvements that we can do. But the cool thing is there's some practical examples as well. This is a site made by Leap. I don't know if there's people from Leap here. Well, yeah. They made this cool example. So you're seeing here a question. I ask the question, and then you get a result formulated as text. And the cool thing is there's references in line. So it's not generated by ChatGPT. If you ask it how long is a crocodile, it will not generate you. It will not say the crocodiles live in the Nile and are that long. It will say, I don't have an answer because the database result returned no answer. And it will say, I don't know anything about crocodiles in our website. Why is this cool? It can not only work for websites, but for example, also via email. Typically in a CRM system, people send emails to the back office, and they get a mail back, and an employee is typing these emails. You could use this same technology to say, okay, this is the email I got, look up the data, generate me an answer email, and then the employee validates, looks, okay, this is a correct answer, and the mail goes out. These people can save tons of time like that. Not only can people look better on your site, but other systems can use this as well. You can even do multiple sites. So you can have, I call it multi-rag. I don't know if it's a term, but you can integrate, you can index multiple sites into your vector database. It doesn't care where your data is from. So you can have Drupal sites, maybe SharePoint, Confluence, whatever kind of source. It can all be in the vector database, and you can query your entire internal knowledge base. Even Slack, you can push the data in the vector database and ask who was talking about this product a long time ago. And then it will give you an answer because it finds the things that you're talking about. Dancer is an open source product that does specifically RAG. They have some cool embedding models that run on your machine. I've been playing around with it. There's no Drupal integration yet. It's powerful, but I think it's very American focused, so the translation capabilities I don't find super strong yet, but I'm experimenting with that. Okay, back to OpenAI and Drupal. OpenAI also conquered Drupal land, and you see all the modules popped up like mushrooms. There's a ton of them. This isn't even all of them. There's like a lot of them, and it would take me another hour to go over all of them and show you how they work. So I'm not going to do that. There's someone who did that and check all of them, and this is a page that you might have seen. I know you cannot read it, but Burgas knows whose page it is, because he's the person that made the page. And thank you for that, by the way. It's really cool that you did that. Check the page. This is a page that lists you what are the AI modules, how they work, what they do, like the basics, the overview of what AI can do in Drupal. Yes, good, interested people. I like that. Sip of water. Okay, so if you check the AI modules in Drupal, you will see there's a ton of them, lots of them doing duplicate stuff, but OpenAI is not open. Drupal is open source, but OpenAI isn't. And lots of these modules tie directly to OpenAI. So what I like personally is open source, and that's why I posted in the Slack channel some time ago, yeah, we should have something like Search API. Can you show me who knows Search API? Who knows Search API, the module? Okay, so Search API. Sorry?
It's a rhetorical question, right?
Yeah, of course, I know. Yeah, who doesn't know Search API? I know, but to prove my point, if you know the Search API concept, that's what we're applying also now to the OpenAI, to the AI module. Because there's a ton of language models. There's a ton of embedding models. There's multiple vector databases. And of course, we want our RAG in Drupal, we want our AI implementations in Drupal to be apart, not tied to one of these AIs. So that's why you need to check the AI module that is being built as we speak. So this week there's already lots of things being built, and it's going to be the cornerstone, the search API of AI in Drupal. So this will be like the basic. QR code, check it. Yeah, but you'll find it. I think the namespace is pretty good. I have one slide which I stole from James. How does it work? Well, there's a core module that has the abstraction layer for the model, we call them providers, the language model providers or the AI providers. There's a search module that does retrieval augmented generation, which you all know now. There's an AI automators module with the interpolator, old interpolator module where you will do the automations. There will be evaluations if you want to test if your system performs like it should. And there's going to be extra stuff like the editor, translations, the CK editor things. So there's going to be a lot in there. It's going to be really cool. If you want to follow along, check Slack on the AI channel. If you're not there yet, this is the place to be. Thank you so much for doing that. Sometimes open source, we're not being grateful enough. I cannot thank you. This is what needed to be done, and you're doing it. It's really, really, really cool. Maybe an applause. Yes, yes, yes. So, and now we're going back to the slide where we started with. This is, of course, how it should be done, and not with a procedural way. This is how it should be done. Here you see, you can initiate, have this provider service, and then say, OK, create an instance OpenAI. But you can also figure out which is the default one, because you select the default, and then you're not tied to if it's OpenAI or Mistral or whatever. And then you give it a chat message here with some input text. This is the prompt. And this will return you the AI result into your module. And I may be old, and not everybody thinks we should use the old style functions, but this for me proves the point that it can be super simple and accessible, and it is. So if you install the AI module, you can use this and use it everywhere in all your flows. But be aware, things are already happening pretty fast. There's a validation module in one of the issue things where you can just type a prompt as a validator. So you can validate that your node title is entirely in French but contains a Bulgarian word. Or your body is entirely in Bulgarian but contains a French sentence. These kind of things you can now check. So it wasn't possible before, I think. For site builders, well, don't be too hasty yet. That's not production ready, not yet. The first releases are coming. For module maintainers that are in the AI module, OpenAI module list, or if you have any AI integration, please start moving this direction. This is where we want to go. Did you understand the message? Am I making that clear? Yeah, I hope so, right? Okay. And now, this is where it gets exciting, because now I said I was going to do some prediction about the future. And yeah, well, this is the moment. There's one thing I can predict that will happen for sure. We're going to do an AI camp for sure. Check the... Oh, I didn't add a QR code. Well, that's stupid. So there's a Drupal AI camp. What's the URL? Drupalcamp.ai. I guess you can figure that out. Be there. It's in October. It's going to be cool. What's going to happen in the future as well? Well, I think more broad adoption of these cool modules. James presented yesterday the module that allows you to ask it questions. This field module that I showed earlier, I actually started building it on a Friday night, and I didn't know the field validation module existed, and then Marcus just posted this screenshot into the issue queue. And I was like, oh my God, I'm dumber than this AI bot. I should have looked it up, and I should have asked the bot. So consider this. I think there's other things that will happen. So for example, PDF to content type also being shown to work yesterday with the agents, creating a view automatically. These things can happen fully automatic without developer intervention. I think this is where we are going slowly. If you're interested in the bot thing, James has made it publicly available. Check it out. You can try. see the modules, see the AI stuff working for you. Excellent. I think in the next integration, that bot would be really powerful, not only if it gives you the answer, but also allows you to directly install the module. I think I want to have a photo gallery. In 2007, how I got into Drupal was I wanted to make a photo gallery. And if I could go back to 2007 me, I would give it away. I would give me away to easily make a photo gallery. That's what I came to Drupal for. Not that I'm making photo galleries anymore, but still, actually I am. At the Calibrate site, I'm making photo galleries. So yeah. I'm still doing it. But I think these are the things that make it easy for people to start using Drupal, and I think that would have helped me. I also think search in Drupal could be better. These are searches on Drupal.org. Oh, my top search is falling off a bit, maybe. So the top one is how to install Drupal on Apache. You see there's 15,273 results. Yeah, and then how to make a photo gallery, 0 results. So this should be better. Why should it be better? Well, I added a photo of the floppy disks here. I sometimes present in boardrooms where people are like decision makers, and I ask them whose birthday is after 2000. Maybe I can do a quick query. Whose birthday is after 2000? No youngsters here? Well, on the workforce, people are also starting to work after 2000. And if you ask them what this is, marketing people have no clue. They don't know what this is. What do I want to say with that statement? The paradigm is changing. People's expectations are changing. People expect to type a question and they want to receive an answer. They expect this from Google Home. They expect this in ChatGPT. And I'm thinking this is going to be the expectation here pretty soon as well. So this is, I think, where it's going. For editors, so I was talking more about technical people. I think for editors, what content covers topic? There's Drupal sites with hundreds and thousands of pieces of content. They don't even know what content they have anymore. I think good searches there can help as well. And I also heard that there was a demo where they go from Figma to a layout builder page. I haven't seen it myself, but I think this is cool stuff. These are things that we're going to see in the near future, I think. I hope. And I'm also hearing some noises about Starshot and AI and Starshot. So I think AI making recipes based on me wanting a photo gallery could be really nice. And there's even people in the room dreaming about Drupal being a no-code AI orchestration platform. So there's lots of things that can happen in the future with Drupal. What I know also for sure is that there is a big divide. There's people that use AI, people that don't use AI. There's companies that use AI, there's companies that don't use AI. And this divide will only grow. I'm not saying you should, like a maniac, add it to everything you do. But I think you should at least keep in mind that for some cases, there is some efficiency to be made. There is some good implementations. There are validations that can happen, searches that can be improved. So it's certainly valuable. Voila. And that's the last thing I wanted to say. Please connect on my LinkedIn. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for being here in this number of people. So voila, that's it. It's always great to receive applause. Thank you so much. But there is another applause to be given. I would like to thank my company, Calibrate, for letting me come here. I have one more or two more things to do, so give me a moment.
Sure.
So they're also sponsoring the Drupal community, which is great. And I also think as people doing open source, we don't receive enough recognition. That's why I have this, I have invented this non-fake, non-AI Innovation Award. So it's the Drupal AI Innovation Award, which is very nice. It's non-AI 3D printed. And I want to please call Marcus and James to the front to receive the Drupal AI Innovation Award. Yes, good. It's not official, but it's for you. I think you're doing a great job with the innovation. So.
Thanks.
Be careful, because the foot comes off. So it's really pretty. Be careful. The foot is like you can do it. It can turn.
Get into the camera. So
Yeah, okay.
Here, please.
So don't drop it.
95 sound.
Sorry?
Does it play Windows 95 sound?
Well, when we made it, I was thinking if we put a screen in there, actually a Raspberry Pi would fit in very well. And then with a USB, like you could play some retro games. But maybe next year, we'll see. Maybe they can make it. They're such innovators, you know. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I cannot state it enough. Voilà, and that's the end.
Actually, not yet.
Okay.
So it's time for Q&A. Anyone questions? Please. No? Okay.
So you didn't say at the end why you shouldn't use AI translation, did you? You said that there's this fantastic AI translation module, but you shouldn't use it. What would be your reason to not use it?
Well, in the new AI module, there will be also a translation part.
All right.
And then you can switch to, because the OpenAI ChatGPT plugin does only OpenAI, and the OpenAI translations for example, French are much worse than, for example, Mistral. If you use Mistral, which is built by a French company, the French translations are much better, are like much better. For Dutch, I also think personally the Dutch coming out of Mistral is actually really good. So I'd rather translate using that. And I know there's an issue with a translation module in the making. So yesterday it needs to be reviewed and stuff like that. But you know, you can play with it, but go to the AI module. Yeah. That's the place to be. More questions?
When it comes to the selling point to the clients and convincing them that it's actually useful, because when you say AI, they can imagine many things, and I've personally been surprised at actually how useful it is to make it easier for some automated things like meta descriptions and things that I personally always struggle with client to explain them that it's actually very, very important for their site to be handled like that. So I have like two questions. First question is, how do you approach pitching the idea of integrating such options into the site? And the second thing is, how do you evaluate engineering time required to implement such features that actually helps client in a long term?
Okay, so how I approach this is, what is their problem? What's taking them time? In Belgium, we have multiple languages. Typically, there's Dutch, French, sometimes German, and English that we put on the websites. These editors have to make all of this content. Obviously, now they're using copy-paste and ChatGPT or Translate, or they have a translation firm that's checking the translations, but they're spending time on that. If you provide them a one-click translation, they feel it immediately. That's like a relief for them. They click the button, the translation is there. Okay, they'll maybe validate it, read it, have it through the translation agency, but they already won a lot of time. So what I do with them is actually very similar. I go over the modules, and I shoot very broadly. And then they say, yeah, but this is costing us time, and this is costing us time. And then I go with the client into more detail, like what's costing you time there, and how can we improve on that specific part, and where can it help? It's not always AI. Sometimes it's a simple flow that can help them, a workflow or something like that. So that's how I approach it. I also show the CRM integration. Sometimes people are very interested in, I show a presentation with lots of stuff. Some people are very interested in the RAG setup. Some people just want editor improvements. They have different pains. I think it boils down to where is it hurting, where are you losing time.
And about calculating engineering effort from, I mean, how much cost you to develop or implement something?
Yeah, what I did was we made some estimations with engineers on how much it takes for each of these features, and we present it like a Chinese menu, and they can choose, yeah, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And of course, they have customizations, and then we go into a conversation, okay, we want this one, but we want the flow behind it, and we estimate the flow, and we present them. This is the cost. The interpolator, for example, well, it's not actually an interpolator, it's the translate button. The client wanted their entire site translated into an extra new language. So they want a full translation of everything there is. So what we thought of doing was creating the translation and applying that to everything they had. And then they can have it reviewed by the translation company. So we just estimated that. Of course, if we do that, we're going to open source that as well so that everybody can profit of that. But they're just going to pay for that. For them, it's much cheaper to pay us a few days to build that plugin than to have someone translate the entire website of thousands of pages. Makes just financial sense, I think. Yeah?
Thank you.
Just pass it.
Yeah, just to add to that, your question about selling it, Frederik put on the slide a thing about evaluations. And what we found is I think evaluations are going to become really important when we start doing real stuff. And all the new AI frameworks have evaluations and test-driven AI like front and center. So when we sold an AI project, we looked at like 200 past claims, iterated our prompt over it, and could compare how good the prompt was to a human. Found we could automate 90% of it with 100% accuracy for the positive claims and 90% accuracy for the negatives, compared to humans who are 95%. And that statistic was really good at selling. I think when you sell, there's an emotional appeal, which is very easy, of like, you're going to get left behind. But the data one, I think, is important as well. And somebody else in our community, Michael, has an evaluation where he's doing really complex engineering questions. So the client will send it in, and usually they need, very well-trained engineers to look through technical manuals to come up with an answer. He's built a RAG system that, at the moment, is giving 75% of the answers are good enough, where an actual engineer has checked it and said, I would be happy to just send that to the client with no changes.
Yes.
And he thinks if we can get to 85%, it's as good as a real engineer, because engineers don't get things perfect. So I think evaluations will become important, and the AI module, we hope to have an evaluations framework to help build those.
Yeah, I fully support that. For example, the CRM system where mails are being sent out and validated by employees, there's companies having an AI system self-evaluating that and even sending mails out without human intervention. Stripe is doing that already now. If you ask Stripe email questions, they are sending you sometimes emails that are automatically generated via this setup. If the AI says, okay, I'm not entirely confident that this is how it should be, then humans come in the loop and they validate the answer. So these are things that are going to come our way. So I think that's a good direction to go, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing I think we'll hope to do in the AI community is like any public validation evaluations that we can post. So let's say the project browser, if that becomes a bigger deal, that's quite an easy one for us to put all the evaluations on publicly. Maybe even some of the prompts that work and don't. And the more public evaluations that we have, I think that will be also helpful for selling AI, because we can show, look, if you use this prompt, this is how good the translations are. If you use this is how good this is for those kind of common things.
More questions?
Thank you for the talk. It was very, very interesting for a person that is not part of the Drupal community yet. I have a question about the AI in general. It probably is a bit of a broad question. For you're using AI and OpenAI, but OpenAI is not open. Mm-hmm. The question is like, what are the talks with the corporate, with other companies? For example, if you're selling a product that is using OpenAI, but they have privacy concerns or security concerns. I know it's a bit broad question, but...
Yeah, I had some slides in my presentation about the European AI Act. I think you can't say AI without mentioning the AI Act, but I have around 78 slides, I think, and I was like, yeah, maybe some things had to be cut out, so yeah, but it's entirely good. We have, for example, a banking client with these kind of concerns, so it's very, very valid concerns. It's exactly the reason why the move that we're making is so relevant. So OpenAI, for them, is just not an option. Mistral, which is based in France, is an option. Or Hugging Face, running your own models, or other things, Olama, for example. These are options that you can actually use. And if there's an abstraction layer, then all of that is possible. So they'll have to wait just a little bit for our AI module to be up and running and supported in all the modules with the functionality, but this is the route that we should take.
Thank you.
Okay.
More questions? No? Then thank you very much for your session. It was amazing.
Thank you.